Hi there, and welcome to another episode of English Breakthrough. Many times when you're learning English, one of the things that creates a challenge for you is you learn things piece by piece, bit by bit. You're not learning the thing in its entirety, so you're kind of picking at it. You get a little bit here and you get a little bit there. Maybe you learn something, you think you know it, and you don't really understand it, but you kind of think you know it. So these kind of things really hinder you in real progress when you're learning. Today we're doing a session about time. So today's episode is all about time. We're going to spend the entire episode about time. And you should take the time to watch the entire video. This video is going to be a bit longer than normal. It's going to be about 20 or 25 minutes. So if you really want to get the full benefit, plan to stay the entire video. If you like short videos, 4 to 5 minute videos, today is not your day. This is not the video you want to watch. It's not going to help you. Watching 5 minutes of this video, you're going to get confused. You really need to watch the entire video if you want to know all about time. Today we're going to cover everything about time. We're going to talk about prepositions, collocations, idioms, and common mistakes that people use when they discuss time. So this is very useful. Time is something we talk about every day in conversation. So it's one of the subjects you really need to master if you want to develop fluency in English. So let's get started. First, we want to talk a little bit about time prepositions. So time prepositions are not very difficult. Well, they are difficult. Very few learners make mistakes with for, of, with, or location prepositions. But most of the mistakes in prepositions are prepositions of time. So I'm going to show you some ways to avoid the confusion. The instructions I'm going to give you are not the only way to use prepositions with time, but they're a starting point to help you get the right preposition most of the time. So don't worry about perfection, just try to get it correct most of the time. Later you can get perfect, okay? So don't let perfection get in your way of stopping learning conversation. Time prepositions. There are 3 different kinds of time to think about. There's a period of time, like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's a quantity of time, like 1 hour. And of course, there's a point in time, like 9 a.m. So here we have a chart to show you quantity of time. So you have 2 3/4 hours. Anytime from 7 o'clock to, say, 6 o'clock, you can have a quantity of time. It's just a quantity of time. It's fixed. 2 3/4 hours. It's a fixed period of time. Next, you have a period of time like 7:07 to 9:45. So that's a specific block of time. And then we have what's called a point of time. In this case, 12:25. So you see the red point of time is 12:25. So the first thing you need to know is the 3 ways we measure time: quantity of time, period of time, and a point of time. Like I said before, very few learners make mistakes with for, of, with, or location prepositions. Most learners make the mistakes with prepositions of time. So we're going to give you these instructions, and if you follow these rules, you'll get it right most of the time. The reason I say that, there are some exceptions, but don't worry about that for now. Just try to master what I show you today. Time prepositions. Once you understand how a period of time, a point in time, and a quantity of time are different, you then just need to remember a few time preposition rules. For a period of time, you use from and to, so you say from 9 to 5. Quantity of time, you use for 2 hours. Points of time are a little more complicated. Points of time depend on whether you're writing about second, minute, hour, day, or other times like week, month, century, year, millennium, so on. So points of time depend on whether you are writing second, minute, hour, day, or other times like week, month, year, century, or millennium. Use at, on, or in for hour, day, or other. Points of time depend on whether you are writing a second, a minute, or an hour. In that case, you use at. For a day, you will use on. Or for other times like week, month, year, century, millennium, you will use in. So hourly ones are at, day ones are on, everything beyond a day is in. So here are some time collocations. Here are some verbs that are commonly used for time. Spend time. So you spend a year in England. You take time. You take a long holiday in Brazil. So you talk about something lasting a few hours. Okay, maybe dinner lasts a few hours. Your suntan lasts a few months. Wait. So you have wait time. So you wait for 20 minutes. You wait for half an hour. You waste time. You waste half an hour. You waste half a day. You just waste time. So there's time words that you use with nouns, such as this. A 30-minute drive, or a 30-minute walk, or a 30-minute flight. A 5-day waiting list. A 2-year contract, or a 1-year contract, or a 5-year contract. A week's notice, or a month's notice. So usually when you rent an apartment or a flat, you have to give a month's notice before you can leave. A time word plus an adjective or an adverb. So you're 5 minutes early or you're 5 minutes late. Better be 5 minutes early. 6 months pregnant, only for the ladies. 2 hours long, the second time around. So here are some prepositional phrases with time. In a couple of minutes, for hours, during the week, at the end of the month, for the past year. So you have a number or amount plus a time word. So you say half an hour, or twice a month, or $11 an hour, or 100 cars a week. Now that's a good salesman. You can sell 100 cars a week. You're going to make a lot of money. 40 hours a week. Sort of common for many, many people. If you're not working overtime, it's about 40 hours a week. Common time expressions. You leave something to the last minute. I think you understand that. Enjoy every minute of the show. Work long hours. Who doesn't do that? Be open 24 hours a day, like 7-Eleven or Circle K. Did you ever wonder why they have open 24 hours but they have a lock on the door? I mean, what do you need a lock on the door if you're open 24 hours a day? The summer months or the winter months. These are common time expressions. Have a bad week. Have a good week. Have a busy week. Have a tiring week. Simple time collocations. We're going to use spend, take, last, and wait to finish the sentence. You may need to change the tense or the form of the word to make the sentence correct. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to guess the answer. These are the only 5 words you can use to answer the sentence. Michael, can I have a quick word? It won't a minute. Michael, can I have a quick word? It won't take a minute. My son hours using the internet every day. My son wastes hours using the internet every day. It's me a whole week to write this essay. It's taken me a whole week to write this essay. I had to weeks for my new passport to arrive. I had to wait weeks for my new passport to arrive. If you take care of your bike, it should for years. If you take care of your bike, it should last for years. Now let's try some time words with adjectives and adverbs. Are you ready? Early, late, pregnant, long, year, running. Most films nowadays are about 2 hours. Most films nowadays are about 2 hours long. I was 10 minutes for the interview because I missed the bus. I was 10 minutes late for the interview because I missed the bus. Manchester United has won the cup for the third year. Manchester United has won the cup for the third year running. My wife is 5 months now. My wife is 5 months pregnant now. We'd better have a coffee. We don't want to arrive a whole hour early. Now let's see, number, amount, and time words. A minute, an hour, a week, a month, or a year. On average, I work about 35 hours On average, I work about 35 hours a week. The job's not that well paying. I only get $8 an. The job's not that well paying. I only get $8 an hour. I get my hair cut about once a month. Macau attracts about 3 million tourists Macau attracts about 3 million tourists a month. That's right, a month, not a year, a month. We get 36 million tourists a year. I waited for nearly 30, but she didn't show up. I waited for nearly 30 minutes, but she didn't show up. Now let's move on to the time collocations. This is in a quiz format, so try to guess the answer. I'll pause the video, or you pause the video while we do the quiz. The words you're going to use are after, flew, by, good, great, make up for, no, on, past, playing, ran out, and take. So let's get started. I arrived in time for my presentation because I wanted to check the equipment. I arrived in good time for my presentation because I wanted to check the equipment. Good time has the meaning of on time or early. We were quite late, so we drove quickly to lost time. We were quite late, so we drove quickly to make up for lost time. Make up means to replace. I read the article in Time at All. It was only a short article. I read the article in no time at all. It was only a short article. No time means very little time. We had a time at the annual dinner last week. We had a great time at the annual dinner last week. Great time means a wonderful time. It was fun. It must be time for the interview. It's very important. I must be time for the interview. It's very important. I must be on time for the interview. It's very important. On time means punctual, to arrive on time. He doesn't want to make a decision. He's just for time. He doesn't want to make a decision. He's just playing for time. Playing for time and buying time mean delaying a decision. Our train was delayed, so the time by playing cards and chatting. Our train was delayed, so we passed the time by playing cards and chatting. Passed the time is to use your time doing something. There's no hurry. Your time. There's no hurry. Take your time. It was a wonderful vacation. The time. It was a wonderful vacation. The time flew by. Time flew by means the time passed very quickly. It's difficult to time for lunch since we have such tight deadlines to meet. It's difficult to make time for lunch since we have such tight deadlines to meet. Make time means to schedule a time for something. I restarted my computer. Time, but it kept crashing. I restarted my computer time after time, but it kept crashing. Time after time means many times, over and over again. She wanted to do more research before the meeting, but of time. She wanted to do more research before the meeting, but she ran out of time. Ran out of time means to be unable to finish a task by a certain time. So that finishes the basic section about time, but it's not the end of the lesson. There's more to come. I hope that if you're enjoying this lesson and you're getting a lot out of it, and it's really sinking in, come back a second time or a third time. Spaced repetition is the key to mastery. Don't just learn about time. Master the phrases that you hear in this video. And you should do this for any video that you think is useful to you. Don't just watch it once and say, I got it. You're not going to get it after one viewing. Repeated viewings is the only way to put it deep into your brain so that you can use it when you need it. We're going to go into the next part, and in the next part we're going to show you common mistakes using phrases, including time phrases. Let's go into the next section. We're going to talk about common mistakes using time phrases. Now this is a very exciting section for you. It may be a bit advanced, but if you really want to nail it, if you really want to master time, if you really want to master phrases using time, I suggest you continue. The next section is about 8 minutes. Again, you're going to need to pause the video, think about what the mistake is, and try to guess the answer. This is really the way to improve your fluency so that you can make corrections while you're speaking. That's the way you want to become fluent, and that is the way you will become fluent. So join me now. We're going to make the screen a little bit bigger. Common mistakes using time phrases. Congratulations, you're at the final section. If you've made it this far, you're doing really well. Now I want to share with you some common mistakes with time phrases. Common mistakes with time phrases. This is really an important part. I've done a lot of research on this, finding the most common mistakes that people use when they talk about time. So I've gone to a bigger format so that you can really see what you're learning. I really want you to get this. So let's get started. Common mistakes using time. So here are some common mistakes people make when they use time or when they talk about time. I'll show you a phrase with time. All the phrases have a mistake. Pause the video and try to correct it. These are all very common mistakes. I'll see you in Monday morning. You say in the morning, but on Monday. So you say on Monday morning. I'll see you on Monday morning. We're meeting in May 18th. You say in May, but on the 18th. So you say on May 18th. We're meeting on May 18th. Your grandmother is coming on next Thursday. You don't use a preposition before next. Your grandmother is coming next Thursday. The conference is next Thursday, the day after tomorrow. If you're talking about this week, you should say this Thursday. Next Thursday is the following week. The conference is this Thursday, the day after tomorrow. I've put my doctor's appointment in my agenda. An agenda is a list of things to be discussed at a meeting. You write appointments in a diary, calendar, schedule, or planner. I've put my doctor's appointment in my calendar. Senior managers have busy timetables. Timetables are for buses or trains and schools. People have busy schedules. Senior managers have busy schedules. We have received the schedule for your trip to Germany. The plan for traveling to many places on a trip is an itinerary. Itinerary. We have received the itinerary for your trip to Germany. I'm afraid the manager is occupied at the moment. We usually say a place, like an office, is occupied when people are using it. Occupied is a bit formal when referring to people. Instead, we say they are busy or unavailable. I'm afraid the manager is busy at the moment. I go skiing for the winter. For tells you how long something happens. During or in tells you when it happened. I go skiing for 2 weeks in the winter. She's lived here since 3 years. Use since to express when a present action began, like since 1999, since Monday. To talk about periods of time or how long, use for 3 years, for 5 days. She's lived here for 3 years. They went to live in Asia before 2 years. To say how long something happened before now, use ago. They went to live in Asia 2 years ago. David's been here since 6 months ago. You don't usually use since with ago. You say like this instead. David came here 6 months ago. David's been here since July. We often go for a meal in the night. If something happens in the night, it's when you are sleeping, or it wakes you up. You usually go for a meal in the evening, between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. We often go for a meal in the evening. Did you go out yesterday night? Never say yesterday night or last evening. You can say yesterday evening, which is earlier than last night. Did you go out yesterday evening? Did you go out last night? Good night, Mr. Powell. Let me introduce my wife to you. Good night means goodbye when you leave someone at night. When you meet someone formally in the evening, you say, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Powell. Let me introduce my wife to you. Naturally, everyone wants to buy the last mobile phone. The mobile with the newest features is the latest mobile phone. Naturally, everyone wants to buy the latest mobile phone. We bought this computer system last year, and it's already old-fashioned. Old-fashioned means something belonging to an older period. Something can be quite new, but if it's not the latest, it's considered out of date. Our computer system is out of date. They lived in Beijing for many years, but actually they're in Tianjin. Actually means in fact and is used to correct a wrong idea. She's not my wife. She's my girlfriend, actually. To say what someone is doing now. They're in Tianjin at the moment. Ms. DeVos is the actual president. Actual means real. The bridge should have cost $4 million, but the actual cost was over $6 billion. The president now is the current or present president. Ms. DeVos is the current president. So that's the end of this session, and I hope you got a lot out of it. Again, I just want to repeat myself. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you really need to come back often. If you think this has been useful, please leave your comments below and tell me what you liked particularly about this video, and I will try to make more like this if you like it. But please leave a comment. Don't just like and thumbs up and thumbs down. Really, leave me some comments. Give me some feedback. I'd like to hear from you. Until next time. So thanks for joining this session about time. It's about time that you started to become fluent in English. And get ready for your English breakthrough.